I welcome you all in the webinar series 9 on cyber security. So, before we start the session, I just want to give you instruction that please do not. So, there are a lot of people who have, you are using raise hand feature. Please do not raise hand feature until you have any question. And if you have any question, please write it on a chat. Please keep yourself muted. If you want to ask anything, as I have already told you before, please ask us on the chat only. And yeah, please keep your video on. And also, if you have like, please do not eat in front of camera so that there will be no disruption to other participants there. And yeah, thank you so much. Over to you, ma'am.
Ani, start. Digital good morning to you all. The put it in slideshow. Ani. Slideshow. Okay. Yeah. Digital good morning to you all. The TNNMC, along with Echo India, has so far successfully completed 8 webinars on various interesting topics. The Nursing Council wants you all to be digitally literate. So today we focus on the threats posed by the digital bits and bytes, is on the impact of cybersecurity in our healthcare sector. Our 9th webinar is on cybersecurity. So what is cybersecurity? The world famous Russian multinational cybersecurity and antivirus provider Kaspersky Lab, headquartered in Moscow, defines cybersecurity as the practice of defending computers, servers, mobile services, electronic systems, and networks and data from malicious attacks. The term applies in a variety of contexts, from business to mobile computing, and today very much in the medical management. We live in a digital world, and our work lives, personal lives, and finances have all been gravitating toward the world of the internet, mobile computing, and electronic media. This digital transformation is deep, enduring, and dynamic. Digital technologies are effortlessly crossing borders, revolutionizing and rattling the way we carry on in our life. Now, the COVID-19 pandemic has led to an inevitable surge in the use of digital technologies due to the social distancing norms and nationwide lockdowns. People and organizations all over the world have had to adjust to the new ways of work and life, and our nursing life in the health and the healthcare sector has also embraced digital technology in ways beyond imagination. As frontline workers, nurses are accountable for using latest avant-garde technology. Enormous data in the healthcare sector is digitized. We enter raw data in the healthcare sector, which is day in and day out, and operate highly sensitive digital machines. So nurses who deal with the digital devices need to be effective, safe, and efficient. This accountability should include competency in maintaining the secure, sensitive data related to patient information and the care the nurses provide. Hackers. This new word is sending shivers to the data storage people, from social media to online banking to digital hospital records. Every piece of our life is available on the internet. This digital world faces a new threat in the form of hackers. Hackers can gain access to sensitive patient and health related information and use them for ulterior manipulating motives. Leaked sensitive data can cause not only sensation but panic and alarm. In essence, our data needs security. Since we store our health related data in the cyberspace, in local physical servers, and in cloud computing, the need for cybersecurity becomes very important. Cybercrime has become an increasing concern for all. In recent years, cybercrime in the healthcare industry have drastically increased in type, impact, and frequency. These attacks have negatively impacted patient privacy, the ability to provide, to deliver care, and the cybersecurity of healthcare organizations. Nurses are uniquely positioned to help protect the data because many a times they are the ones who feed the data. Though the hospital may have a webmaster, ultimately the nurse who feeds and maintains the statistical, numerical, and digital entries. A breach in the secure health data is indeed a breach of trust and confidence. So far, the world has witnessed many such cyber data breaches. For example, HealthShare of Oregon in United States reported that data of 654 patients were exposed by hackers. Florida Orthopedic Institute reported a breach of 640,000 patients' medical record. Elite emergency physicians revealed that 550,000 patients' records were compromised. Instead of being securely disposed of, the patients' records, including the name, address, insurance information, and medical histories, were discovered in unsecured at a dump site. In India, it is reported that many healthcare websites are being hacked and roughly about 68 lakh records are being stolen. So one needs to know that this problem and challenge is universal today, threatening the entire health world. In today's webinar, we shall see how to maintain cybersecurity and ensure the safety of both personal and professional data and arm ourselves against the medical cyber terrorism. Over to Dr. Sushila.
Thank you, Dr. Annie. Yeah, delighted definitely to welcome all of you for this webinar series 9. I welcome Dr. Suresh also. I delighted to welcome our young and energetic registrar, Dr. Annie Grace Kalaimadi, in her absence. She is unable to join now, who has taken keen effort to empower the nursing students. Dr. Annie Grace Kalaimadi is well known to everyone by her actions. All the nursing fraternity and nursing students by the name of registrar, everyone knows her. Recently on Nurses Day, she motivated all the students by various competitions to exhibit their talents. Thereby, all the students' stress is busted and they are okay. And during this pandemic period, she has taken this digital media through virtual platform to make the students to be very strong by continuous empowerment. This is the 9th series, where 8 series have completely been enjoyed by the students, and they have given a wonderful feedback. It was Echo platform who has analyzed that, and all the students have enjoyed, and every student has been messaging us like they need a continuous series like this. And this topic has been well taken, and Annie Raja has explained the importance of cyber security. I hope Dr. Suresh will be doing this definitely in such a manner where students will be utilized effectively. We must thank Dr. Annie Grace Kalaimadi, definitely, who has taken a lot of effort to this and finding all experts like this and bring to this session. And I would like to say one more thing, like all Tamil Nadu, Puducherry, Andaman nursing students who are here are very lucky to see the registrar who is giving a license to practice. And directly, madam is always there, try to interact and motivate the students and try to empower the students in all the ways. It's not only in curriculum. She is making the students to be very strong in this COVID and pandemic period. And we are very much thankful to Dr. Annie Grace Kalaimadi. And without wasting the time, we request Dr. Suresh to start. Over to Annie Raja to introduce Suresh sir to start the session. Thank you.
We have Mr. PCR Suresh with us, an eminent personality. And Mr. PCR Suresh is an industry expert with over 25 years of experience in banking operations, cybersecurity, risk management, audit, and IT training. He is basically a science graduate with master's degree in business administration and is also a certified cybersecurity professional. He launched his career in UK-based multinational company as sales executive. After that, he has been associated with various organizations, gathering wealth of knowledge and experience in marketing, product management, etc. And he started his career with the Standard Chartered Bank in the year 1994. And he has worked in various functions, including operational risk, compliance, information security, audit operations, audit across countries in Asia, Middle East, and Africa. And his last role in Standard Chartered Bank was as a senior vice president and head of audit for the Global Shared Services Center. And currently, he is the director of Yesego Consulting, where he leads the cybersecurity consulting practice and risk management. And he's an advisor for a Chennai-based multinational tire manufacturing company, leading their operational risk controls and fraud prevention controls. He's also a part-time consultant in a few other organizations in the cybersecurity, marketing, financial services, and microfinance space. He is a member of the board and trust of few organizations like ECLOF, ESI, MCC, GGF, HTM, Christwood, etc. And he is an active member of the NASCOM, CII, FICCI, BBG, GGF India, and Data Security Council of India. And he has received few awards also, like Corporate Citizen Shield from the Chennai City Police Commissioner for his service to the police community, and special recognition from the Deputy CM Government of Tamil Nadu for his lead role in CSR activities in the year 2010, and Promising Citizen of India Award for his CSR initiative from the Government of Tamil Nadu, His Excellency Dr. Rosaya. And over to Dr. Mr. PCR Suresh on his very interesting current cutting edge area of cybersecurity. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, madam. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I hope you all can hear me.
Yes, sir. We are hearing you, sir. You can go ahead.
Okay.
You
So
can share
because
your
I'm
screen
not
and-
able to see the nurses, so in case you're on mute, you can just give me a thumbs up sign. That will. Okay. So thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that introduction. And I want to thank the Tamil Nadu Nursing and Midwives Council Registrar, Dr. Mrs. Annie Grace, for extending this invitation to come and talk to your nursing students today. I deem it a privilege, and I hope at the end of the session, the students carry back home some value, some knowledge on cybersecurity and how they can protect their own personal information assets. And I also want to thank both Dr. Annie Raja and Dr. Sushila for following up with me and making sure that I'm there with all the material for this presentation to your students. Okay, now before I start, I just want a couple of clarifications. Anuradhika, if I want to do a polling, would you be able to organize one?
Upendra, is it possible?
No polling is added for now. We
Okay.
have
So this is a webinar, no, so that's why polling is not possible. We can do one thing. You just display a question there, or people will answer it on chat. Is it possible, sir?
Yeah. The first question that I have is, are all nurses comfortable in English?
Bilingual will be nice.
Predominant? Sorry?
Bilingual. Both in
Bilingual, yes.
Okay, so most of them know Tamil also, isn't it?
Yes.
Tamil and English should be fine. Okay. So where possible, I'll chip in Tamil. Okay, that's the first thing I wanted to clarify. The second thing is, I think you answered my question. I think all of them are nursing students. There are no working nurses excepting the final year students who are on duty now, COVID duty. Okay, that's good. So if I have some questions, Anuradhika, you can just give me an indicative response, like majority are, for example, I want to know how many people are having Android phones or smartphones. And if they respond, you'll be able to give me a rough idea, right?
Sure, sir.
Okay. As we proceed, we will probably do that. Okay, can I start sharing my screen, or is it already shared?
So you have to share your screen.
Okay.
Shares.
Before sir starts, I request the participants to please answer your please answer it on chat. Please do not write your introduction on the chat. It is hanging our system. I request whosoever is writing it on chat, like their name and their institute name, please do not write it. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning to all the student nurses who have joined. I think more than 6,000 of you have joined. So
7,000, sir. 7,000 already.
7,000 now, is it? That's amazing.
Yeah. Still
It's a large
joining,
number.
sir.
Oh, still coming in. Okay. Fantastic.
Still coming. Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, good morning to you all. And just a quick introduction. I think I'm not going to talk about myself because it's already been spoken. Just one statement. As nurses, as student nurses, or whichever profession we are in, I believe that perfection is not attainable. But if we chase perfection, we can actually catch up with excellence. So I believe all of us have to excel in whatever we do. And as nursing students, I wish and I hope that whatever you do, I mean, you are probably just starting your career now, you should always aim for excellence. When you start aiming for a higher goal like perfection, you will definitely end up being excellent in whatever you do. We are actually living in an environment today which is not prevailed for the last 100 years. We're actually living in unprecedented times. Who would have expected in 2019 or even in early 2020 that all the population will be locked inside homes, right? It's an unprecedented time. It's a challenging time. Most of the people who have been going to work are now inside their homes. Some of them have lost their jobs. Some of them are working from homes. It's really, caused a lot of disruption in people's lives. So we are really living in troubled times, and I am very sensitive to what is happening around us. And in times like this, the medical fraternity is to be commended. The medical fraternity is the real heroes, doctors, nurses, even nursing students who are on duty, paramedical staff, the frontline workers. Hats off to them. I actually, put up a small video which in appreciation of all the frontline workers in one of our YouTube channels, where I really said, if you really want to appreciate the frontline staff and the medical fraternity, the first thing that you can do is stay home and stay safe. So while we are focusing on staying home and focusing on staying safe, we cannot afford not to stay safe online. The number of people using social media apps has gone up by over 200% in the last 1 year. And the number of people using internet itself is again gone up by a whopping 150%. And interestingly, the time spent by individuals on internet has also doubled. Earlier, people who have not been using internet have also started using. In my home, I can see some of my elders have started using WhatsApp videos, iPhone video messages and whatnot. So the time spent on internet has also doubled. So while we are taking care of health and COVID, you should realize that people are more and more using the internet, more and more using social media apps. They're increasing their time spent on the internet and so on and so forth. And so staying safe online is equally important. Now, when I decided to talk about cybersecurity to nurses, the one thing that I had in my mind was to actually make sure that you are well informed about what are the perils, that are, sort of staring us when we use internet and social media websites. Now, there are 12 things that I picked up here. Now, these 12 topics on cybersecurity are actually live case studies that has been picked up by the Karnataka State Police. Now, Karnataka State Police actually launched something called a Cyber Safe Girl. Now, these were basis on complaints that they have received in the last 3-4 years. They put up all those cases and saw which are the most vulnerable areas for especially women. Because why I say women is if you talk about cyber stalking, which is the first topic that we will cover, because cyber stalking is an obsessive behavior by individuals where they compulsively and illegally keep track of someone else's activity on the internet. That is cyber stalking. A very simple definition, simple terms. So most of the cyber stalking victims are actually women. 70% of them are women, unfortunately, and their age group is below 30 years. 30 years average and below is the age group of people who are being cyber stalked. And more interestingly, 50% of the perpetrators of this crime are actually known to the victims. What do I mean by that? Now, these are people who you know them either as friends or past acquaintances or your colleagues or your fellow students or whoever. These are known to you. 50% of the cyber stalkers are actually known to you. So what does it tell you? So I will come to that little later. So the point I'm trying to make here is all these 12 topics are actual case studies. I'm not going to reveal any names or I'm not going to reveal statistics about these cases, but these are actual cases that has happened. And many states today, after Karnataka took the lead, have implemented the cyber safe girl. Maharashtra government has done it. I mean, Maharashtra police, cyber crime police have rolled it out. Kerala police is doing a very good job now. They've opened a website and they are cascading a lot of information to public in general and women in specific. Tamil Nadu, I'm just talking to the the DGP of the crime department. I've been speaking to them. At the moment I started talking, this entire COVID thing broke out and we have not been able to progress it. And now there's a change of government, so we need to start from scratch again. But I'm very keen to make sure that this is rolled out by the government to every women above 13 and below 21 on awareness about what is cyber stalking and all these 12 topics that I picked up here today. But although I've given you 12 here, there are 3 which are most critical that I want to spend a little bit more time, and the rest I will probably rush through because it is impossible for me to cover a topic like cyber security and information asset security within 2 hours or 1.5 hours. So I'm going to focus on things that you should know as nurses. And thanks to Dr. Annie Raja, who gave a very good introduction about cyber security in the medical industry. We are living in a world of connectivity. If you have heard about the term IoT, Internet of Things, it talks about connected devices. Today, especially in the US and in Europe, many of the devices that are used on patients are connected, which means anything that is connected to the internet can be hacked. And so if a patient has got, let's say, a pulse monitor, which is connected to the internet, or say a heart device that is connected to the internet, and I can actually, hack the device and cause death of the patient or, pull out important information about the patient. I think that's something Dr. Annie Raja touched upon. So, but I'm not going to go into those details today because that's a vast area. I'm going to talk about, as nurses, what you should know to protect yourself, your personal safety, and how would you prevent yourself from these cyber stalkers that are, luring around, that are roaming around in the internet world. So, from that point of view, you should know what are the dangers of using social media. Social media has got great advantages. Today we are able to connect with people across borders. Our loved ones and dear ones can be contacted by the click of a button. Using stuff like WhatsApp, audio phone, or Zoom. Today we are able to meet up with about 7,000, 8,000 people, man, on a platform like Zoom, which is a technology advantage for us. But at the same time, you should understand what are the perils that are involved in using social media. Now, smartphone again, is a wonderful instrument to have in hand, provided we protect it and use it rightly and prudentially. Otherwise, the dangers that are involved in using social media is something that we'll talk about a little bit more in detail. So there are three things that I want to highlight. One is the dangers of using social media, and the smartphone and how it must be protected from external threats, and password security. Now, password security, I had desired to make sure that everyone who has joined this webinar actually see it. So I'm going to give some time for you to actually go and click the link. I'm going to ask Echo to share the link with you all, and I'm going to give you some time. It's a 3-minute video, so I'm going to take a break of 3 minutes to 4 minutes for you to see that video, and then come back when we talk about password security, because it really helps. And I'm also going to ask for a support, and I've put it in one of our associates channel, GGF. So I would request you to actually subscribe to the channel. The reason I want you to subscribe is, as I said, not everything is going to be covered today, but I will definitely, with the permission of Tamil Nadu Nursing Council, give you an update on a monthly basis through this channel on YouTube. There'll be a 1-minute update on some of the cases that are happening across the country, live cases, and what are the lessons learned and what you should know. Is something that I'll keep compiling every month, and I will share it on YouTube. Not necessarily in a webinar series like this, but just on YouTube, so you can actually go in at a time that you want and take a look at that. So if you subscribe to the channel, you will be getting those updates. I just decided to do this last week when I was talking to a senior person in the medical industry. They requested that you should do it, and I agreed. I said, okay, I will do it. So I want you to go take a look at the video, and then do subscribe to the channel, and you will get updates every month from us on cybersecurity, which will be latest crimes perpetrated, latest hacking that happened across the world, specifically in India, and what you need to know and what are the lessons learned from those cases, and what you need to know is something that we'll keep updating. And I will make sure that the video doesn't exceed about a minute or 90 seconds at the max. So it will be a quick short video every month that you will get from us. Okay. So firstly, social media. If I if I know your name, for example, or whoever is on this webinar, if I know your name and if I know the name of your Facebook account, and if you give me 5 to 10 minutes time, I can come back and give you the history and geography of that nurse. I can do a complete personal profiling of that person by just looking at their Facebook account. Facebook account is also interconnected to other accounts. For example, it is interconnected to your smartphone. It is interconnected to your other accounts like Twitter or Instagram or even WhatsApp, and so on and so forth. So people without knowing keep updating a lot of things. Taking selfie is a craze among youngsters today. Taking selfie, is a good thing, but putting it in a public platform like a Facebook, application, is it worth putting it? Personal photographs, putting the photographs of your dear ones and loved ones, putting the photograph of your fiance or a spouse, is it worth putting it? What can happen? As long as you know how to protect it, it is fine. But if you don't know, then you should be really doubly cautious before you post any photographs. But I see youngsters randomly posting everything. If they, for example, if they go to a picnic with their friends, hey, I am in, say, let's say I'm in Pondicherry. Hey, I am in Kashmir. I am in this coffee shop. And immediately take a selfie there and they post it. You know what happens because of that? I'll just give you a simple example. Do you know your photos that you post on your smartphone has so much of information in the hands of a hacker, or not necessarily a professional hacker, or even a person who wants to take revenge on you, or who's upset with you, or who wants to just see your back. I'm not able to show my smartphone here today. I have a smartphone. I also have an iPhone that I use. So all my personal confidential information I use on my iPhone, because iPhone is slightly more difficult to hack. Smartphone is comparatively easier to hack. So if you carefully follow what I'm saying, in your smartphone, if you go to Google Play Store, you know there is an app called Google Photos. If you download that Google Photos, it's a free app. Anybody can download that Google Photos app, and you just have to open any photo tab. Okay, this will show you all the photos that you have in your smartphone. And if you actually open that photograph, any own photograph, and you right click it, on top you'll get an icon, an eye icon, which is basically an information icon, or there'll be 3 dots. And if you click that 3 dots, you will get another sub segment there which says details. And when you click the details, you know what happens? The photograph that you took has got certain metadata, META. Most Android phones, in fact, 99.9% of the Android phones store data inside the device. They are called metadata. What sort of a data do they store? They store the location that you took the photograph on. They store the device that you used to take the photograph. They store who is the person who took the photograph, the date of the photograph. If you have put any tag saying, with my boyfriend, with my spouse, with my mom, with my sister, with my dog, with my pet, whatever tags that you have used, the camera that you used to take, the camera that is there on your mobile phone, all the data is available. And the interesting thing is the location is actually shown as a Google map. And if you go click that Google map location, it will actually take to the live location as to where you took the photograph. So if I'm somebody who want to track you as to where you are, now, for example, if you have an iPhone and if you post a photograph now, wherever you are, whether you're in Pondicherry or in Andaman or in Tamil Nadu, I can pinpoint the exact location you're sitting right now and watching this webinar. Would you ever imagine that a simple photograph that you put on your website or on your WhatsApp or on your any mobile application, Facebook, or you just share it on WhatsApp with your friend, I can take that photograph and I can just pinpoint the location that you're sitting right now. Okay, so that's a sort of danger. Smartphones collect a lot of data. Now there is a lot of resistance for data collection in Europe, but unfortunately in India we don't see too much of a noise on that. Although we hear a couple of voices here and there. So they collect data using a lot of tools. There are tools like your Bluetooth is another tool which collects a lot of information. There are accelerators that are embedded into your phone. GPS is another valuable tool that connects information. There are light sensors. Your microphone can actually help us collect data. There are proximity sensors in your phone. The Wi-Fi that you use is another tool that we can use to collect information about you and whatever you do. There are apps that you use. There are application logs, even battery status logs, your call logs. All of this information can be put together in various tools, and I can do a profiling about the individual. I can tell A to Z about the individual. History, geography, chemistry, everything I can tell about the individual. So you need to be really careful about what you're doing with your smartphone. That's the first thing that I want to give you an idea. When you use your smartphone, make sure that you're using it for the right purposes and in a safe manner. Do not use your smartphone indiscreetly just because you have a gadget in your hand, because there is metadata that is being stored in your phone, and there are tools and gadgets that are inbuilt in your phone and in various apps that can collect information about you and your loved ones and about your entire environment. That's the first thing you need to know about social media perils and smartphone. And the second one is password security. Now, how many of you have logged into this webinar using a smartphone? Can you just put just the digit 1 if you're using a smartphone, and the digit 2 if you're using a laptop or a computer? Just a few responses to Anuradhika so that I can get a fairly good picture of how many of you have logged in using your smartphones.
Sir, most of them have responded 1. And
This is a smartphone.
few of them have to says 2.
Okay, very good. My next question is for those of you who have logged in using a smartphone, how many of you do have a passcode for your smartphone? If you have one, just say Y. If you don't have one, you just say no. How many of you that who are using a smartphone are using a passcode to unlock your smartphone? And if you don't have a passcode, then you say no, just the letter N. And if you have one, say yes, Y.
Sir, there is a mixed like answers. A lot of people are saying no, a lot of people are saying yes. So it's a
Very
mixed
good.
response.
Okay. So my suspicion is proven to be true. You know, it is absolutely important to use a passcode on your smartphone. Not just using a passcode, but you should also know how to use a secure passcode or a secure password, whether it is a smartphone or a iPhone or a laptop or an iPad or whatever gadget you use. You have to, the first basic step in information security and cyber security is you need to use a password. Okay. So now I'm going to give a 5 minutes gap for you to look at the video. Now, if you can share that link, please, Anuradhika, to participants. Most of them are using smartphones, so they can just click that link and they will be able to go and see the video. We'll give them exactly 5 minutes. And please make sure you also subscribe to the channel, because either now or before the end of this webinar, you do it so that you will start getting updates from me. And even this presentation, I'm going to update it on this YouTube channel. It's one of our associates channel, but it's a very safe channel. So you can trust me on that and subscribe to the channel, and I'll start giving you updates. This entire presentation will be available, and I'm going to put a few other videos on the channel on password security, email security. I also have one on pre-assessment, which I don't know whether I have time to do, but let me see. If I don't have time, I will put it on that website and on that YouTube channel. So just tell them, just put a message to them to ask them to view that video, subscribe to the channel, and come back within the next 4.5 minutes. Thank you.
All the participants, I have shared the link on the chat. So I request you to please do the needful.
Please, all students, please watch the video. Now, take a break and watch the video, whichever the link is in chat box. You copy it and you watch in your phone. Yeah. Then you
subscribe to the channel, please.
Yeah, okay.
And all the participants who have been introducing yourself on chat, I request you to please stop the introduction on the chat. Our systems are hanging from that. So just if whatever sir is asking, any like the question that he is asking, please answer those questions. Thank you.
Yeah, the same things you was continuously telling, and all the students, you are writing your name and the college. So just answer the questions and interact only towards the session, whatever sir is asking only. That is what Anuradhika is trying to tell. யாரும் வந்து எந்த காலேஜ்ல படிக்கிறோம், எங்க இருந்து வரேன், அது எழுத வேண்டாம். நீங்க வந்து அவங்க என்ன கேக்குறாங்களோ அந்த கேள்விக்கு மட்டும் பதில் சொல்லுங்க, சரியா? That's what is the request. வீடியோ பாருங்க, பார்த்துட்டு you come back. It's a humble request to all of you. ஏன்னா it is getting hanging. The systemல நிறைய load ஆகுறச்சு it won't work, no? அதனால தான் சொல்றாங்க, வேற ஒண்ணும் இல்ல. We are happy to see you all from which college அதெல்லாம். But still இது message overload ஆறதுனால it is a humble request to all of you. Okay? Thank you.
In 4 minutes is over. Another thing you can tell me, I will start off. Huh? Sushila ma'am, do we have a question and answer time, or it's only on chat, right? So there is no opening up the lines for question and answers.
We request one to come through chat box only, sir. So they are coming there. Even question answer thing is there open only. There actually 29 people have used that already. I'll just open it and see what is the thing.
So if there are some questions, maybe you can
Yes,
just
sir.
compile them and let me know the end. I will probably stop at 12:30.
Okay.
12:30 to 12:45, I can take questions.
In question answer also it is there, sir. But most of them are coming through chat box only.
Okay. Okay. I will share my email ID. If they have some pressing questions, they can always, write to me, or they can route it through TNCC or TNNC also. Maybe you can just leave a message to them. If they're finished, they can just put the alphabet F. If you get some substantial F, then we can start. Those who are finished can just put a response as F in the chat box. So if you start getting Fs, we can start.
So lots of people have already finished,
Okay.
watching videos. Yeah.
But for those of them who have not finished, also they can join now. They can do it later. Okay, I think 5 minutes is over, so we'll start. Anuradhika,
Yes,
do I
sir.
have
Yes,
it?
sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. Thanks for taking that break to watch the video, and I hope most of you have watched the video. So what am I learning from that video? 2-3 key learnings. First is, for those of you who are not using a passcode on your phone, please set up a passcode immediately and make sure it is not your year of birth or date of birth or some fancy numbers like 9999. Those are all easy to be cracked. Use a complex number. Use a special character if possible in between. Make sure it is a little bit more complex. That's exactly what was taught to you on the video. And those of you who are having laptops, make sure you have a good strong password. The general rule for a password is it has to be a minimum of 7 digits or 7 strings, and it should be alphanumeric. When I say alphanumeric, it should have the digits A, B, C, D, numerals A, B, C, D, and numerals 1, 2, 3. And if you can include uppercase, lowercase, and a special character, it is very difficult for a hacker to crack it. The lengthier the password, the more difficult it is for them to crack it. The complex the password, the more difficult for the hackers to crack it. So please set your passwords on your smartphones. Set your password on iPhones. There are smartphones where you can actually set even facial recognition. Only if you see the phone opens up. You can also use your thumb impression. Many phones today come with a thumb impression. They just have on the back side there is a sensor. You just have to touch that with your thumb impression. If you record a thumb impression, only if you touch that, you'll be able to open your phone. So do something to secure your smartphone. One is to secure a smartphone and also to physically keep it in safe custody. Do not leave it in places of work or places of study, because as a hacker, if I get uh, your phone into my hands for 60 seconds, I can easily implant a malicious software into your phone, and I can start hacking your phone completely. I can control your phone. Okay, so don't leave your phone outside. in a public place, or even in a sitting with a couple of friends, and you want to, say for example, use the restroom, don't leave the phone on the table and go and come back again. They can take the phone in that time gap and then insert any malicious where it's easy to just set up your phone to start tracking to another network or to another email ID. So watch that email, that video again whenever you get time, and do subscribe to the channel to stay updated. Okay, now let me rush into these 12 topics. First one is cyber stalking. I touched about it. Now cyber stalking is not about hacking. The person need not hack your phone at all. The person need not hack your, as I told you earlier, it is just watching your activity on social media and then start stalking you, where you're going, what you're doing, what are your preferences, who are your friends, what is your mobile number. All that can be elucidated using cyber stalking. Now, this is one of the most common complaints that police have been receiving in the southern states. Uh, for example, on average, in 2019, there were 500 plus cases reported in the state of Tamil Nadu. And as I said earlier, 70% of those cases are against women, and most of the stalkers are men. And I mentioned to you, and these are all known people who have stalked, past friends, friends who have become enemies, colleagues, and so on and so forth, disgruntled employees. All these are the categories of people who are doing the cyber stalking. So you need to really be careful about what you're posting on your uh, social media applications. And another sad thing is, now this 500 that is reported is only about 30 to 40% of the cases that has actually been perpetrated on these victims. Many of them don't even speak about it, because there's a social stigma attached to it. So they don't even want to complain about it. They don't even tell their parents. They won't even tell, if they are married to their spouse, but they're being cyber stalked by somebody somewhere. Okay. So better safe, safety and preventing is more, uh, you know, advisable than taking, um, action after the crime has been committed. Okay. So what do you do? There are things that you can do. You can stop, posting personal pictures on your social media accounts. Be mindful of your passwords that I told you. Make sure that you have strong passwords before you put anything on your emails or social media chats. Ask yourself a question: is this personal information important to be posted? Why am I posting this personal information? Is it really important? Before you post any personal information, ask yourself that question. I mean, it is absolutely essential only to do that. Okay. And if you are cyber stalked, don't keep quiet, don't keep silent. Seek help. Talk to elderly people around you, talk to your parents. Do not hesitate, talk to them, and where appropriate, raise it with law enforcement agencies. Talk to your police. There is a separate cell in every state for cyber crime, and there is a separate station for women crimes. So take advantage of that. Go and raise a complaint, or at least call them and raise the complaint. Okay. The next one that I want to talk to you about is picture morphing. This, many of you might have heard about this, but this is one of the most common crimes that is being perpetrated on online, where a person, there are umpteen number of you can just go on Google search and ask for morphing tools. There are plenty of tools that are available, especially during election times. Both in the US elections and India elections, we saw picture morphing happening rampantly. Even these you know comedy sites, or some of these posters that keep coming out during election time. The most common one was using Sendil's face and morphing his face to somebody else's face and putting up messages, comic messages. This is very common. I'll give you a small example. In Chennai city alone, in the year 2019, there were more than 50 plus cases of photo morphing, and unfortunately, 3 of them committed suicide. Now, I can't tell you which district, but 3 of them couldn't even talk about it. They morphed their faces and then used it to blackmail them, used to tell, one case, this ex-boyfriend said, I will tell your current wife, husband, although it was not real, it was a morphed photograph. They used some obscene photographs to blackmail the individual. So be really careful about not posting unnecessarily your photographs in websites or in social media platforms. Okay. This is something that you see everywhere. Now in the COVID times, you're not seeing much of it, but earlier you go anywhere, you go to a mall, you go to a shopping center, you go to a restaurant, you go to a eating joint, you find people taking selfies left, right, and center. Now, why do we need to do this? And even if you take it, why do you need to post it into social media, sites? Immediately, as soon as you take, the next minute it is there on Instagram. The next minute is there on Twitter. The next minute is there on Snapchat. The next minute it is there on Messenger. The next minute it is sent on Facebook, or some application. People can't keep quiet. They want to immediately post it, right? Now, as I said earlier, prevention is better than cure. So click less photographs, and even if you click photographs, keep it within yourselves. Do not share it with everyone. Be discreet. There are settings in your phone that you can go and set up privacy settings. I will probably touch about that a little later. On one of my slides, I think I have that. So you can set your privacy settings to a level that where only your relatives can see it, or sometimes even your friends can see it, but don't post it to public at large. So follow the rule of beware. Do not post your pictures or your family photos on social media platforms. And if you're targeted, immediately talk to your parents or to some elders or a trusted friend, or raise the complaint to the police. Okay, now this is another interesting one. Keyloggers. Now, this is basically a software or a malicious program that can be installed in your computer. This is commonly done, through two ways. One is by getting physical access to your phone. I told you earlier, do not leave your phone with your friends or with people who you are not very familiar with, or in a common place where you go to a restaurant, just leaving your phone just because you want to block a seat, you leave your phone on your table, and then you go to the restroom and then come back. That's a no. Don't do that, because I can insert a keylogger. Even if I get 60 seconds is enough for me to insert a keylogger into your phone. I can use Bluetooth. I can physically transfer it. I can just download it from a website that I have already created and kept. I can download it from a link. Even a link that I sent right now to watch a YouTube video. A link like that can also be used to download a logger into your phone or into your system. So do not click any link unless it comes from a trusted source. Now I'm doing a webinar now, and I'm doing it through Tamil Nadu Nursing and Midwives Council. So obviously, I won't do something like that. That's the hope. But criminals can use any ways and means to do that. They would send you scamsters normally send links that are that you are vulnerable to. They'd say, oh, for example, Coke is giving a gift because they're celebrating the 10 years, or a big company is celebrating their 100th year anniversary. So please click this link to get a free gift. Never ever click on those. And even when it comes from for example, ignorant, if I get a message like that, just with the good intention, I may not have clicked it, but before I do it, I would have transferred it to some 10 friends of mine, thinking that let me also give it to my friends. So never click on any suspicious links, any suspicious vague messages, from unknown sources, and even from known sources. Be careful. Use your common sense to find out whether it could be real or not. For example, I received one message, I think 15 days ago, saying there's a special offer. Ford is, giving some car to all its customers. Please click this link to claim your Ford vehicle. Would Ford do something like that? A company like Ford Motors or automobiles, would they do something like that? So don't fall prey to these, attractive messages that come to you. Be very careful. So keylogger is basically a software, a malicious software that once it is downloaded into your mobile phone or into your laptop, I can literally take control of your computer. I can literally take care of your laptop. Whatever keystrokes that you're using to enter your password, username, everything can be recorded by me in another website. So it's very dangerous. And you wouldn't even know that the keylogger is sitting inside your laptop. Unless you have a very good antiviral program or a end user computing program that actually protects your system, you will not even know that a keylogger is sitting inside your system. There are some ways and means that you can know whether a keylogger is installed in your computer or in your mobile phone. I'm giving you a few things. These are not exhaustive ones. If you find your battery draining very quickly, suddenly, all of a sudden, you have bought a new phone. It is less than 1 year old, and all of a sudden, your battery is draining very quickly. You charge it 100% and it comes down to, let's say, 20% immediately within an hour or so. Then you can probably consult an expert to figure out if there is any keylogger or any malicious software inside your phone. And see, what happens is when you have closed down all your applications, there are various ways to close applications. In smartphones, you just swipe it out and it gets closed. After closing all your applications, if your phone is still hot, then there is some program that is running at the background. Okay, so you need to get suspicious there's something wrong with your phone. So do a complete factory reset, or consult somebody to make sure that you do a complete check, a viral check, or a malicious insertion check. Or you can actually install a good licensed antivirus program on your mobile phone also. And if you're receiving strange messages, Android keyloggers are often installed via text messages. You will get strange text messages. Now, a good time is especially for students. If you're nurses, they might send you messages like, say, for example, oh, there is an opportunity for you to work in Dubai. Click this link, and you will be recruited even before you complete your 4th year. Your salary is so much. All details will come, and then you will click that link. Okay, and without knowing, this keylogger or this malicious software will be downloaded into your mobile phone. And after that, it just you are under my control. I can control whatever I want. Look at everything that you do on your mobile phone. Okay, so make sure that you don't download any strange messages. I mean, even links on messages. There will be a strange link that comes on messages. Be careful about that. And if your phone is turning on and off without your permission, I mean, you're using your phone, you're talking to somebody, or you're watching this webinar, suddenly your phone switches off on its own, and then it switches on its own, then it's quite likely there is some software, unauthorized software, that is running on your phone. Okay, so immediately do a check, do a complete check, do a factory reset, do something to install a licensed antivirus, or do an antivirus check, or talk to an expert, or talk to somebody who understands technology. Okay, and even if your performance is slow, sometimes what happens, you have a good iPhone, the latest version, and suddenly your phone is taking time. Even if you are trying to open up an application, for example, you're trying to open up Safari, or internet browser, it's pretty slow. It's taking a lot of time to open your website. Then you should have doubt. Okay, something could be wrong. So it is better to have a suspicious mind and make sure that your phone is always protected. Okay, that's all about keyloggers. I've got 15 minutes to go, so I'm going to rush it a little bit. Now on your laptop, this is what I was talking about. If you go to your settings and you click on settings and you go to privacy settings, and you will get a list of things there, where you can go and set your, privacy in terms of your camera, in terms of the websites that you can visit, in terms of the application that you can have access to or give access to. All that information is available. So always go and check your privacy settings. And most of it is common sense. You can use your common sense to easily change your settings. Okay, for example, even this webinar, I can decline access to the camera for this particular Zoom application. All I have to do is go to this, settings and privacy settings, and click on the camera, and camera will give a list of all the applications that have access to my camera. And I can close the access, and you'll be able to see. You will not be able to see my video. You'll be able to hear only my voice. So there are certain things that I have mentioned there in that slide. Do not download random files. Use a good antivirus software. Keep your systems updated. If there are updates coming from the manufacturer, keep updating it. all mobile phone manufacturers, they keep sending updates. iOS updates keeps coming, Android updates keep coming. So keep updating them, because if they find any vulnerability, they immediately put a patch and they send it across as an update. So do not ignore those updates. When it comes from your manufacturer, download that update and immediately make sure that your software is updated. And I'm going to talk about web camera hacking a little bit later. So there I will talk about how you can protect your webcam. There are simple solutions that you can actually deploy to protect your images being captured by fraudsters. Call spoofing, this is decreased a lot nowadays, but still you need to be aware. Especially if you're a nurse and you're abroad and your parents are in another country. Now I can talk like your parent, I can talk like your brother, I can talk like your spouse. I can use the number that your spouse is using. It'll appear as your husband's name, for example, can be made to appear on the caller ID, and even the voice can be mimicked. There are so many tools that are available to do that. Scammers automate the dialing using robocalls. They can display an ID that you know of, and they can also mimic your voice to make calls to you and to give you messages saying, hey, can you quickly transfer money to this account? I'm in a remote location. I'm with my friend. This is account number. I'm stuck. I need money. Please transfer immediately 2,000 rupees on Google Pay. 2,000 rupees immediately. I'm stuck here. And I talk like you're somebody who's close to you, and the voice is real, the caller ID is real, the number is real. So you will unsuspiciously transfer that money and it's gone. Okay. So that's an extreme example. It's not that easy to do it, but I'm just warning you so that you are always suspicious of anything that comes to you. If you have even a smallest of suspicion, be careful. SMS spoofing, I think I talked about it. Be careful about SMSs that keep coming to you. There are lots and lots of SMSs that will keep coming from unscrupulous elements, from fake websites. One of the easy things that you can do is to check the URL. When a website is given, normally after www, if there is a different name other than the website of that particular company. For example, if my company name is ESI Group, now after my www dot, my company name has to appear. If you're getting something from the government, for example, income tax department, it will say ITGOV. Only after that, there will be other characters that are coming. But if there is some other, name in that web address, and then after that it says, Government of India, Income Tax Department, then it is not a true website link. It's a fake. So you can use your common sense to identify easily what are these fake links that come to you. What are these fake messages that come to you? I will start putting that in my YouTube updates as to how you can identify some of these fake websites. Okay. Online games. Momo challenge was a problem some time ago, but it's come down. But there are many other online games that are a problem today, especially if you are staying in a hostel, you're away from your parents, and if you're a very emotional person, and if you're vulnerable to loneliness, or for that matter, if you're suffering from so low self-esteem, or you had some event that happened, a loss of a dear one, or financial loss, or some clinical depression, you can become a prey to online games. You don't know what to do. You just open up your mobile phone and you start playing online games. And that could be a big problem. There are lots of very attractive online games, and some of them are called stuff like Star War. There is a choking game which is very, very dangerous. Do you know this game actually is played by most of the kids in the Western countries, and they land up with fatality. They actually die. It's a choking game where they actually strangulate their friends for a very brief high. Can you imagine that? Strangulating that high. They get a high because they do it for a short time. And it's been realized that every time the first time they try it, many of those, friends who try it actually end up dying because they don't know how to do it. So some dangerous games like this are, people are vulnerable to these games. So you'll have to be really careful about avoiding these online games. Never ever get into online games, um, without parental consent or spouse consent. Okay, deepfake is just something that you should be aware of. This is not very common in the medical fraternity, at least. These are very common in the political, arena and in the corporate world, where they use a tech. This is actually a program that is available on the websites on internet. You just have to download a deepfake program, and you can use this technique to combine and superimpose new images and videos. So something that you have not spoken, for example, if I'll take an example, I don't know whether it's a good example. If somebody doesn't like the registrar of the Tamil Nadu Nursing and Midwives Council, they can actually make a video as if she is speaking, and targeting a particular section of people, saying that licensing will not be allowed to this particular college. Just imagine a video going out from the registrar of Tamil Nadu, Nursing and Midwives Council, saying that Apollo Institute of Nursing will never be given license as long as I am the registrar. A video message which has her as the video, and let's say I'm interviewing her and she's talking like this, and the video goes out like that. So those are all things that can easily happen. It's possible. There are tools that are available, and that's why you should be very careful about not putting images on unnecessary websites or social media applications. Now, camera hacking is one of the most common and most dangerous and most sensitive techniques that hackers use to blackmail their victims. Now, this is something that can be easily done. As I was talking about the keylogger earlier, same way there are tools available on the website. I do not know whether I can give those names, but I'll just give you a couple of ones. There are remote access tools that are available. Even IT support guys. For example, I saw an IT person from Echo was sitting there. They do have some authorized tools, remote access tools. Now, these remote access tools can be used properly. They can also be misused. Okay. Now, some of these remote access tools are also called as rats. In a cyber world, they are called as rats. Now, what is a rat? Rat is a remote access software that administrators use to target an individual. They will ask you for access to your system for resolving a particular issue. You have some issue on your laptop, so they, okay, I will resolve this. Give me remote access. So you give remote access to them, and they will actually resolve the issue. But while they resolve the issue, they will actually inject a ransomware or a malicious ware into your laptop and leave, or even your mobile phone can be targeted. Now, I told you sometime earlier when we were talking about smartphone security, that there are only two ways a hacker can actually hack your phone. He needs to get physical access to your phone to implant or inject something into your phone. He just has to change the settings and import from his own website this particular malware. Okay. The other way to do is by luring you to download something that you think is not malicious. So what they do is they call something called a social engineering. They'll talk you into downloading some attachment. Let's say you download this attachment, then you will get a better speed on your smartphone. Okay, you download this attachment, then you can save power on your smartphone. You download this application, is very useful. Gives you a daily update on the number of COVID cases that are reported in the state of Tamil Nadu. You download this link, that you'll get a live update of how many oxygen beds, ICU beds are available in various hospitals. For God's sake, do not download it unless you know it is from an authenticated source. Because while doing that, I have actually what I would have done is I would have, downloaded malicious software that can hack your camera, or for that matter, hack your system. And then I can see everything that is there in your hard drive. I can see everything that you're doing. So imagine, you're carrying your smartphone everywhere you go, even, to your bedroom, for example. If you're carrying your remote phone, and these chaps who have actually hacked your phone can have access. And that's how they take photographs. That's how they keep track of your movement. And that's how they can blackmail you. And this does not need intelligent hacker to do it. I'll give you just one name that you should forget after hearing from me. There's a rat called Revenge Rat, and it's a free download. Once you get that download, you can easily go and just put your target, mobile phone, and then send messages to them. Send some 100 messages to them. Even one time, if they click it, Revenge Rat can get into your mobile phone. And once Revenge Rat is installed in your phone, I can see your picture, whatever you're doing. Even if you're taking a selfie, or sometimes you use your camera to groom your hair, or to make up your face, or to do whatever you're doing. Women do a lot of things with their phone. All of that will be captured. Somebody else is watching. Can you imagine that? Okay. So never ever click anything from an unknown link. One of the easiest ways as nurses that you can protect yourself from your photos being hacked is, especially if you're on a laptop, use a simple band-aid. Those 1 rupee band-aids. You can just put a band-aid on your camera. You have a laptop. Now I'm going to put my finger on top of my camera. You cannot see my image, right? Right? So similarly, you can there are a lot of webcam, covers that are available. A simple cover which can actually slide over your webcam. So keep your webcam closed at all times and open it only when you need to use it. For example, you're getting into a webinar like this and you need to, speak to somebody, open the webcam. Otherwise, keep it closed. If you don't have a, webcam cover, doesn't matter. Just use a simple tape. Just stick it on top. So even if a, scamster or a hacker has, hacked your webcam, he won't be able to see your images because you've blocked your webcam. So that's a good way to protect it. Even your, smartphones that you use. I'm trying to see where I kept my smartphone. Okay, I have a phone that does not have my camera exposed. It's got a slider. So only when I want to use my camera, I push my, camera up, and then it comes up. The old phone is pushed up. So only then you can, give access to the camera. So make sure you can use those simple. If you have suspicion, just block your webcam. If you have suspicion, just put a small sticker on your camera. You know where the camera is on your mobile phone. I'm sure all of you know. Just put a sticker on that. This is one of the most common things that any amateur hacker wants to do. The first thing he wants to do is hack your camera and look at your pictures. Look at your personal pictures. Look at your, very, personal moments. They want to watch that. And so they will hack your camera first. So this is something that you have to be very, 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 very cautious about. And the worst thing is you won't even know somebody has hacked your camera. I do not know. Hopefully not. But out of the 7,000 people, not a single person's camera is hacked. But I don't know. Unless I check all those 7,000 cameras, I can't tell. It's quite probable at least one person in this audience's webcam is probably hacked. Quite probable. The probability is high. Okay. So this is something that you really need to be very, very careful about. Never allow any malicious download, unauthorized download to happen on your smartphones. Okay. This is again social trolling. When you post on social media or Twitter, just be careful about what you're doing. This is an example of when this particular star went and met the prime minister. Just imagine, she was, she very ignorantly, sat in front of the prime minister to talk to him, and look at the sort of comments that have come. But don't your legs like that, please. Look at those comments that I put there on the screen. Okay, at least wear decent clothes. Do you think you are well dressed in front of our prime minister? This is social trolling. The moment you put a picture, there are a group of people who want to troll you. They can put some nasty comments, and people unfortunately cannot ignore those comments. They read those comments and they get depressed. They go into depression. They go into a boot of sadness. They go and do mad things. They go and even commit suicide. There are people who have committed suicide because of social trolling. Now, there are cases in Karnataka where one person actually committed suicide, killed herself because her classmates, did trolling on one of her photographs. Okay. Now, romance, fraud, as nurses, as girls, please, please, please be careful. No, there are guys who are good talkers. They can sweet talk you. They know you because they've already done a social profiling. They know what you like, what you dislike. They know which restaurants you go to. They know what sort of food you eat. They know what sort of dress you wear. They know what sort of colors of dress that you like. So if I spend about 30 days on doing a social profiling about you, and then if I target you on an online dating, website, I can easily defraud you. There are instances both in Tamil Nadu and in Kerala. I'm talking about nurses who have been defrauded. There were particularly 3 cases that came to my attention when I was doing a counseling session for. Sorry, my screen moved. Counseling session for a nurse's family, and then this fellow actually studied everything about this girl, and then sort of emotionally blackmailed her, and over a period of 4 years, made a transfer close to about 9 lakhs, hard-earned money of that nurse. That family was struggling, and this fellow was giving cock and bull story, saying that I'm getting a job for both of us in an overseas location, and gave her false letters. I'm coming to that also. Showed her fabricated letters, showed her fabricated communications, and made this girl transfer money. Hard-earned money, 9 lakhs, close to 9 lakhs was transferred to this individual. Finally, she got suspicious because this fellow was taking too long. And then she decided to talk to her parents. Her parents raised a complaint to the police, and they tracked that fellow. And this girl has not even met him in person. It's all through online. And money has been transferred. How? By just sweet talking. Not even married. Not even, betrothed or whatever, not even confirmed. But she started trusting this fellow and transferred the money. So as nursing students, be careful. Don't get misled by fellows who are sweet talking to you. Fraudsters can talk so romantically and so sweetly. So be careful about them. But a real spouse, will speak the truth. I mean, may not be very romantic. So I cannot. I'm not an expert on this, but you should be really careful. Best just avoid these dating websites, and have always some elderly people with you when you're looking for a life partner. Okay, now this is just the example. I'm not going to show it for long. This is the actual letter that was misused by one of these fellows. I've removed the phone number, but this chap used this, even a fraudulent letter, appointment letter was used to fraud somebody to get money out of that person. Okay. And finally, I think my time is about to close. When you're using your debit cards and credit cards, be very, very careful. Always have a 2-factor authentication enabled on your online accounts. If you have an account, make sure that you go to your banking website online and make sure you have the 2-factor authentication activated. Because what I've shown you is a card skimmer. I don't have time to show you a skimmer now, but there are card skimmers which looks like a small plastic card. It's like a 10 centimeter by 2 centimeter card that can be inserted under your ATM. For example, if your college has got an ATM, I can come to your ATM and I can use the ATM, and but before I leave, I can just stick that skimmer inside the ATM machine itself, which will not be visible to you. It will not be visible to a common user. When you go and insert your card, it skims all the information about your account number, information about your PIN number, information about your account balance. Everything can be skimmed and directly transfers to my laptop through email. A skimmer can do that. The skimming device can also be taken data. There are various skimmers. One such skimmer, an advanced skimmer, is that it starts transmitting data. The skimmer will remain in that ATM, but the skimmer keeps transmitting data to my phone or to my email address. Keypad skimmers are also there. The bank's keypad will be there. On top of it, they will come and put a similar keypad. Okay, so every time you key in, the transaction will go through, but those transactions are also visible to my phone and to my laptop. There are keypad skimmers like that, advanced skimmers have come. And these are being sold in the dark world. All the hackers use the dark world. They have certain websites that they use that are home for hackers' websites. There are a lot of websites that are used by hackers, and they keep changing their IDs. They keep changing their IP addresses, and these skimmers are available on those websites. And anybody who wants to defraud somebody can actually use it. But these are illegal. They know the repercussions. If they are caught, nowadays it's people are getting very knowledgeable and they're catching them. If they're caught, they have to go behind the bars. But as an individual, as a user, when you're going to an ATM, if there is some bulky stuff in your ATM, if there is something suspicious protruding out of the slot where your card is being inserted, immediately report to your bank or go to another ATM. Okay. And keep changing your pins as much as you can. So these are the things that I could cover today. There are so many more things that I would have wished to cover. But maybe what I will do is I will start giving you these 1-minute updates once in a month on the YouTube site, on the YouTube link that I sent you. If you have that YouTube name, then you can go into those YouTubes. But if you have actually subscribed, then you will automatically get a notification saying that the new video has been posted. And that is why I asked you to subscribe. So before I open up for questions, I would request you all by end of today, if you can go and subscribe to the channel. I will keep sending you updates every month on some of the things that you need to know, some interesting things that you need to know, some live cases without names being exposed, but live cases, lessons learned, and what you should do. I'll keep sharing that because we work closely with the cyber crime police of at least 3 states. So I keep getting those cases. They do consult us consult me and the group of other friends who are part of our advisory board. They consult us, so we get to know these cases, and we also give them mitigative actions for each time. The crime is very innovative. They develop new tactics every time. They don't repeat the same one. There's something new that keeps coming up. They're always catching up with the game. You do something, they come out with something which is a little more innovative. Fraudsters are very clever. So every time we also keep upping up the game. We need to keep on protecting and keep on developing mitigative actions, which we keep doing. So I'll keep posting those interesting updates to you on those YouTube channels. As much, minimum of at least 1 a month, I'll keep doing. But as much as possible, as frequently as possible, I'll keep doing it. And so I request all of you who joined the webinar today to go back and look at that video. I will, after this webinar, I'll put the other videos also on email security and a few other videos I'll upload. Take a look at them and subscribe to the channel so you'll keep constantly getting updates. And this presentation also I have uploaded as a video yesterday itself, but that will be available. I've scheduled that video to be available only after 1:30. So after 1:30, you'll be able to see this presentation itself. Okay, so you can download this presentation and use it if you want. Absolutely, I have no problem in that. So I'll keep posting information as much as I can. There are other groups also who see the videos in various channels, but I'll keep updating you. So before I close, I once again repeat, go look at the video and subscribe and keep yourselves updated. Thank you and God bless, and I'm open to questions now.
Sir, people have sent a few questions. One is that how to identify the fake websites and fake app any identity makes.
Okay. Now, one of the things to identify fake websites is, especially if it comes as a link, look at what is appearing immediately after the www words. for example, let's go to, Tamil Nadu Nursing Council website. Okay, what is the website? Can you see my screen? Can I just online? Can I go and show them? You'll be able to see the screen. I don't know.
First, that you have to remove the presentation, then you can show it on your screen.
Okay, let me remove the presentation. Have I stopped sharing the screen? No, right?
No, sir. So there is a stop share screen option above your screen in a
Oh, I
red.
know. I missed something because I have to again share the screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I've not stopped sharing, but I've just closed my PPT. Let me see if I can go into. Okay, Tamil Nadu. I guess you can see my screen, right? Can
No,
you see my
sir.
screen?
No, sir.
No.
Not yet, sir. Not yet.
Okay, I think I'm not able to share my browser. Okay, let me just take a snapshot. Okay, I'll try and tell you. I'll probably put another update on the video. If you click your Tamil Nadu, Nursing Council website, it says www.tamilnadunursingcouncil.com. Now, the word, for example, if it is Coca-Cola, after www, it has to necessarily be Coke. It cannot be anything else. The moment there's something else, and after that Coke, then it is a false website. Okay. What is a good example that I can give you? Let's say, for example, Zoom platform, right? You want to go into Zoom website. How do you know if it is a real Zoom website or a fake website? You type the Zoom website, it will say www. The first letter will be Zoom, and then it will be other abbreviations. Okay. A slash on the link itself, the first word will be from the original site name. If you look at that itself, you'll know whether it is a fake site or not. If it is Tamil Nadu, let's say income tax department, then it will be Tamil Nadu IT government. Those government words will be there on the first few words. Only then the other names will come. So what I will do is I will send a I don't have it ready made here now. I'll send a list of fake websites and how you can check examples of various fake websites and how they are faked it. I'll send it across on my YouTube channel shortly.
Any other questions there in that, Anuradhika?
Yes, ma'am. So they just want to know any licensed antivirus software or app name.
Okay, there are various. Don't recommend any specific one. I use K7. Norton is a standard one. Norton, you can use Norton softwares. For mobile phone specifically, I think K, alphabet K, and then 7. Can I type it to all panelists and it will be done? K7. Okay, that's one. And then Norton is normally available. You can use that also. And various people use various softwares. You can just Google what are the best softwares and it will get an answer. There's, I think, on Kaspersky or something like that is there. On Russian software, that's also very good. But I use K7 because I know that company. I was part of that company some time ago. But you can Google and you will get the top 10 best softwares. Normally, I don't recommend any specific ones.
So is this for laptop or mobile?
For both. For both. Both of them are for both.
Okay. So the next question is, how can I secure for about mobile camera hacking? So I can, I want any idea, sir. How I'm secure for this hack?
Okay, I think I when I spoke about web hacking, I told you do not download any unnecessary programs. But to start with, what you can do is you can just go to your phone and do a factory setting. So even if there was some malicious software now, if there's already if you have suspicion that somebody has already hacked it, what you do is you can go to the settings and there will be a factory setting. So just do reset settings and do factory settings. That will wipe away all of the malicious software that was there on your phone. As soon as you do that, get a good software. I know, for example, K7 mobile software, antivirus software that you can buy, install it on your phone. Don't buy free softwares. Pay for it. It doesn't cost you much. I think it costs you about 30 rupees or so per month. So per annum it will be 150 rupees. So buy a good software, okay, and install it on your phone. And make sure that your phone itself actually, does a lot of security work. It's not as easy to hack your phone, just like I told you. Normally, companies like Samsung and other manufacturers, they keep updating your phone. Software updates are sent every time. Every time something happens in the hacking world, they get the message. They develop a patch immediately for the vulnerability, and they send an update. You'll get a message from Samsung saying, please update your software. So keep updating. For example, if you have a iPhone, the iOS updates keep coming. So you'll get a message saying, please update your software. Immediately update the software. Don't wait. If you have doubt, you can go and check the source. It will be from Apple. Those are normally, not hackable. So you can actually update your phone. So if you have suspicion, reset your phone to factory settings, install a good antiviral software, and make sure that your software from the manufacturer of the phone is updated to the latest one. Those three things will ensure that your phone is clean. After that, do not download any unnecessary link, and always keep a sticker on your phone if required, or you can just put the sticker on the back side of your phone. The front camera, disable that. Disable your front camera and use it only when you need it. Okay. Always do not keep your default mode on your front camera. Put your back camera as a default mode and put a sticker or a cover on that. Those are things that you can need to secure your phone. And be very careful, to make sure that you don't download anything unnecessarily.
Okay, so there are two questions. One is saying that they like few of them have downloaded apps which they are not unable to delete, and if it's hacking, then how they can recover their device?
No, you should be able to delete the app. Every app that you have downloaded, you can delete it. Normally, I don't know of any application that you're not able to delete. But if you're not able to delete, immediately consult an expert, somebody who understands IT, and make sure that it's deleted. By actually, talking to somebody who really knows how to, reset your phone, you can actually get that application deleted. Which application is that? Can I know it if it is not a problem?
Yeah, send it through chat box. What application which you couldn't delete?
Or you can send it to my email address also. I'll
Okay.
with your email address, you send it. I'll reply to her also.
Lot of questions they are asking, all which you have answered already. So many questions have come, but I'm happy that they are able to get this much of question in this session. Very nice.
No, I put my email address. So digital well-being, I've never heard about this, but I think you should be able to delete it. If you just hold the application for, if it is an Android phone, if you hold the application for 10 seconds, it will start shaking with an into sign. And you go just click that into sign, it will get deleted. Understood what I'm saying? Okay. Or ask them to write to me, I'll reply to them with some screenshots.
Sir, they're just saying that how they can recover the data if their device is hacked.
See, normally if you're having a malware, then that malware will be deleted. But in the process, some of your data will also get deleted. So before you do that, when important data, you can save it. There are devices available that you can attach to your phone to your laptop, and then create a separate save folder and save your photographs and important files before you do your factory reset. Your contacts can be saved on Google Drives. Your contact can be saved as labels in a hard drive. So you need some technical support on that. So you should consult somebody who's a little bit of technical knowledge. But there are plenty of videos on YouTube that can actually help you do that. Just type those questions. There are lots of videos that can help you. You can do a self-learning on this. But again, ask them to write to me, and I can give them a specific video or a specific support resource. But once you factory reset it, it will be gone. Your contacts will be gone. Your photos will be gone. You have to do that. There's nothing that you can do about it.
So there's another question. So there are few fake COVID-19 IDs, like people usually says, okay, this is where you can get the oxygen. This is where you can get the whole information of. Yeah. So how do we get to know that these are fake or not?
It's very difficult for me to answer that question because see, in this situation, 20%. I was attending a meeting on this Tamil Nadu government COVID care. Some meeting was there. So done by another group called Guidance Cell. So there they were saying that 20% of people are actually taking advantage of this COVID and making money. But there are 80% out there who are sincere, who are really wanting to help. They're sending information about various hospitals. But most of these information that are coming are not helpful at all. Because even if they say, for example, if they say, oh, Triple M has got 10 beds, by the time you pick up the phone and make a call, those beds are gone. It's not online. It's not updated. Even if they're updated in the morning, by the time you make a call and find out. So best is to avoid all these COVID information and give it to, government authorized agencies who are handling this. Don't go to private groups unless it is a well-known NGO that you know of. Do not use any of these COVID links that come to you. No, trust only government authorized or government hospitals authorized COVID information that is coming to you. Don't go for other private information that keeps coming, because most of the time these informations are good, but they're not useful. By the time you go and check that information, for example, they say you will get an oxygen cylinder here. By the time you actually make a call to that place and find out it is already gone, it's not there, or it is in some other state. It is not even in your state. It might be in some Delhi. And you are wanting a cylinder somewhere here in Trichy or Madurai or Pondicherry or in Andaman and Nicobar. What's the point in giving me a phone number just in Delhi? So best is to ignore these messages. Just see it, ignore it, delete it. Only go to trusted site, government approved sites and government approved hospitals and well-known private hospitals. Otherwise, don't go to private messages. Just delete them.
Okay. Is it safe to donate through Keto and Milap nowadays? Donate card. Is it safe, sir?
I don't know about these two. Keto and Milap.
Keto and Milap are the two websites where they do a public funding of patients who are suffering from some certain disease and they're not able to get, and the parents or the relatives don't have enough money to get their treatment.
Honestly, I don't know. I'll do a check on it. If you can type those two words, I'll do a check.
Keto, it's KETTO, and Milap, MILAAP. AP, sorry.
Okay, I'll check on this. I don't know about it.
Okay. And the next question is how to contact cyber police. Is there any contact number for that?
Yes, you can just go and type cyber police and you get cyber crime department is there in every metropolitan. They have given a email ID as well as a phone number.
From yesterday. Yes, sir. We can get from Google, sir. We have tried actually that cyber police number. Each city they are giving like. So I think we can get that numbers. And one more, sir. Yesterday onwards, there is one fake one is coming. Get your new coronavirus subsidy 50,000 INR. And same like that one you were telling, no? Like click
Yeah.
this into 20 groups. From yesterday, this is the famous one. And somebody has sent this to my mobile and they asked me to inform here about this particular coronavirus. One of the principal has sent it to me. That is subsidy of 50,000 INR for coronavirus subsidy. This is the new thing. It is coming from yesterday. So that if
What are they asking? What is the action they're asking you to take?
I'll tell you, sir, that I'm going to read that.
What is the action you're asking you to click a link?
I'll
or
tell you,
something?
sir. What is that they are asking is, you get a cash subsidy of INR 50,000 rupee. Please follow the instructions below to receive it. Share. First one is share with 5 groups or 20 friends on WhatsApp. Click the WhatsApp icon below. Click continue to receive subsidies. Till that you have to go. So this is all fake, like Amazon gift. And
Absolutely, this is exactly what I was talking to you about.
yeah, that's why example only I'm giving, sir. Yes.
Yeah, super good example. Yeah. Okay, I think my time is up. Is there any other questions? And I'm getting calls.
So there are many questions. I think we should do one thing.
We'll
I
send the
request-
questions to sir.
yeah,
Please compile the question, send it to me. I will definitely
Yes.
answer every question and
Yes,
send it on
yes.
mail to either to the individual or to somebody like Dr. Sushila or Aniraj, so they can send it out to them. I have to.
Yes, yes,
No.
we understand, sir. So, Anuradhika will just send the questions to sir, and then we can send it to through the students through mail or whatever. No problem.
I have to pick up a doctor. My wife is a doctor. She's coming back from the hospital, so I'm
Yes.
getting calls from her. I told her I promised I'll pick her up at 1 o'clock. So
Okay, sir.
Okay,
excuse me
sir.
for that, but I'll definitely answer the question. I'm happy to answer questions.
Yes, yes, we'll.
Very keen to answer questions. So they can send the question. I've given the email ID there, and I'm putting my presentation also on YouTube. My email ID is there, so they can put the questions there and I'll answer them definitely.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
And ask everyone to kindly watch that all the other videos that I'm posting today, and subscribe to the channel. I'll keep updating them, and I will definitely respond on Keto and Meal App also. Meal App also, check it and I'll come back to you.
It was really a wonderful session, sir. All the students, I think, not only students, even us, we are really benefited out of it. Hereafter, we'll be very careful, and we learned a lot of new things like picture morphing, keylogger, hacking, call scooping, SMS scooping, and webcam, how to close the webcam and how to safeguard our camera. Even as me, always very careless, keeping all my mobiles everywhere, wherever I go. So now that we learned a lot from you, sir, it is really helpful one. And because we ourselves in healthcare workers, we don't care about the mobiles. But now it is very good for the youngsters, because our young students are always with selfie and taking wherever they go without knowing the people, they'll go for a selfie and take it. So now from now on, I think they'll be so careful, avoiding such things, and leaving the phone to unauthorized person they will avoid. And they'll be very careful in using downloading the unauthorized attachments. All these they think they'll be careful, and they cannot go with prices and whatever is coming through unauthorized website. I think we are very much touched with your presentation, sir, because it is all very helpful informations on how to protect ourselves in this growing digital.
I think ma'am is facing some internet issue. Okay. So thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful presentation on cyber hacking. And so I'll share the questions with you. And I request the participants to please share your feedback of this session. It's very valuable for us. So thank you so much. Aniraja ma'am, would you like to say something?
So thank you so much, sir. You're not audible.
So your voice is not audible. No, sir. Actually, have you?
Disconnect.
No, I think he has put the headphone on. Yeah.
Now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I was saying that I think Sushila's the screen froze.
Yes.
But that's fine. I definitely am keen to answer the questions. So send me the questions, get the feedback, and share the feedback with me also. If
Sure,
there's any
sir.
areas that I can improve, I'll keep improving. And I request Dr. Annie Raja to request the students to subscribe, so I'll keep updating them on that. It's easier for me to update that. So one stroke, everybody can see it. Otherwise, I'll have to
Sir,
send
already
individual mail.
400 people have subscribed.
Oh, praise. Very good. Very good. Okay. But 4,000 were there, so
No,
some
no,
more can subscribe.
they will do it, sir.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you
Thank
so
you, ma'am.
much, sir.
I'll
Thank you
take
so
leave.
much.
I'll take
Okay,
leave. Convey my thanks to and wishes to Dr. Annie
Annie
Grace.
Grace.
I will
Yes,
speak to her
sir.
sometime in the evening.
Definitely. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you
Thank
so much. And thank you, Anuradhika, and the team of Eco India people, and Upendra also.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. And we can close, Anuradhika.
Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Okay, okay.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Now I'm closing the session.
Okay.
Thanks, Upendra. Thanks.